Hello and welcome everyone. This is a short video about how to send an email, and so in this clip we will give you some pointers as to what to think about and how to structure your emails. So generally speaking, we will look at what you can say in your email, how you should say it, and when to send your email. And then also we will look at how you can respond if you receive a response to your initial email. Just be aware that email is the main medium of communication in a lot of workplaces and also for us at school. And so it's really useful to get your head around how to do that. Generally speaking, email etiquette is quite similar to just normal communication and conversation. So be polite, be really clear, and be concise. And also, and this is important, treat the recipient of your email like an actual person. Sometimes we can forget that if we're just writing this on a screen. And so make sure that you understand that there's actually a person receiving that message from you, and you want to make sure that you treat them as such. Now, there's a few things to do and a few things not to do. Here is an example. So the first thing you want to start with is having an appropriate email address. So your school email is a really good starting point. We have actually received emails from email addresses like the ones that you can see on the screen. And you can probably imagine that Minecraft player or butterfly girl at whatever.com does not actually come off as particularly professional. And so firstname.lastname at whatever.com is a great format, and you could just set up an email just for professional purposes if you want to use a more playful email address for other purposes. Quite important because that makes contributes to your first or to the other person's first impression of you. Right, so how to address people. This is quite interesting because you're greeting the person for the first time. If you can, always use their name. This is the same for teachers. So try to avoid just saying, "Hi, sir." Put their name in. They will use your name as well. They don't address you with emails to you with "Hi, student" or "Hi, boy" or "Hi, girl." You could start, or we suggest that you start with "Dear First Name" or "Dear Mr. or Ms." If you use MS, that will get you around the issue of deciding whether you want to use Miss or Mrs. You could also start with "Kia ora" or any other greeting that you think is appropriate in the context and to the person who you are emailing. Don't use "hey" if you want to be professional. Don't use "hi" if you want to be professional. If you're really not sure who's going to read your email, you could start by saying "to whom it may concern." That is kind of a foolproof way of starting. Now, the next thing you should do is acknowledge that you're both human. So start with something that is quite simple, as you would in conversation as well. So show them that you appreciate them as a person. You might say something like, "How are you?" or "I hope you're having a good day." Even better if you can establish how you know them. And so obviously this is when you're not emailing a teacher because they know how you know them. You don't need to restate that. But if you're emailing somebody outside school, one of the things you could say is, "Thanks for taking the time to talk to us at whatever event that was," or "you heard them speak," or "you were introduced to them by someone at some kind of event." And so if you can establish how you know them, that's really helpful. Now here is an example how you could email your teachers. So you want to introduce who you are and what you want. Obviously most of your teachers will know who you are, but it does help because teachers have a lot of students. If you say, "I'm in your year 11 English class, I have a question about XYZ," and then it would be really helpful if you phrase your question really clearly. "Would you please be able to help me with," and then say what you need help with. "Would you be able to give me some feedback on this document? I have attached it. I'm unsure about this topic." Or you could also say, "Could we please arrange a video call, particularly in this current time where we can't see each other face to face." Right, so if you're emailing somebody outside of school, you don't know the person, and so you'll need to give a little bit of explanation about who you are And so you can say things like, I am, insert your name, your full name, or just the first name, depending a little bit on the relationship with that person. You could also say, my name is. Ideally, you establish how you know them or who is introducing them to you. And so you might say, my dad or my friend or someone, a relative, and then put their name and recommended that I get in touch with you, or we met at a particular place. So establish that. Now, you need to be really clear about what you want. And so you want to make sure that you tell them enough about yourself without rambling on for ages. So you might want to say something like, I am this type of person. So it might be a job title, or it might be a position you hold in a sports team, or you might be an apprentice in something. So be specific about in what capacity you're kind of emailing them. So pick the one thing that is either most relevant to the person or the one thing that will get people interested. So you could start your sentences with like, I have an interest in, I would like to, something like that. Now you need to tell them why you're emailing them. So are you asking for their advice? Are you asking them for a job? What is it that you're asking about? Try to be polite and friendly about it. People struggle to resist compliments, and so this is a good time to put one in. You could say something like, it seems like you are a good person to talk to about this, or such and such recommended I ask you for advice. And so even if people don't think the compliment is true, the compliment will still work. And so use that in your favor. Now you want to be really specific about what you want. So ask for what you want. Would you be available for a catch up and a chat over coffee sometime? I'm in town this week. Are you free to meet for a conversation? If you ask directly, you might get a really direct response, but if you don't ask, you don't get anything. So the worst thing that's going to happen is they're either going to say no or they're not going to respond. And so one of the things they might tell you is that they're not free for the next 2 months. And so then just go back and ask them again in 2 months' time. Okay, so there's no harm in asking as long as you are really polite. Now, as you're finishing your email, make sure that you thank them. Finish off on a really positive note. So you might say, have a good day, thank you for your time, enjoy the sun if you are in the same space, the same place and it's actually sunny. And then something like looking forward to hearing from you soon is always a good idea. Now you want to sign off your email. So you can say thanks or ngā mihi. And then your name, your full name. Also think carefully about what you want to put at the bottom of your email. So would you like to be contacted by phone? Put your phone number in. Be prepared that they might ring you if you do that. So if you're not prepared to take a phone call from them, don't put your phone number in there. You might want to put your email address at the bottom again as well, so they can get it from there a foolproof way. Or your address, if for whatever reason you think they might need your address. Right. Last but not least, and this is really important, select a really clear subject line. This will be the deciding factor of whether somebody's going to read your email or delete it straight away. And so it makes a real difference if you are really clear. And so there's some examples here. So we've assumed that you might be asking someone for advice, or you might be looking at job opportunities at at a local business. And so these are good subject lines: job opportunities at, and then insert the company, your advice please, or your advice on, questions about. So be really clear. Here is one example. And so in this case, we didn't know what the person's name was. So we are saying, to whom it may concern, I hope you have been enjoying the great weather in Wellington recently. My name is Fred Reader, and I'm a secondary school English teacher. I am interested in working for Unity Books as a customer. I enjoy the atmosphere in the shop, and I would like to make a contribution. Would it be possible for me to come into your store this week and talk to someone about this? Thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Ngā mihi, Fred Reader. Friendly, polite, giving a bit of a compliment about the atmosphere in the store, and so that's one way in which you could address that. Now, there's some other bits of email etiquette that we would like you to be aware of. The first one is timing. So if you're emailing someone out of professional interest, email them in the professional work hours, so 9 to 5. You can draft the email on weekends and in the middle of the night if you want to, but don't send it at that time. People might make judgments about that. Also be aware that both Outlook and Gmail will let you schedule your emails, and so you can write them whenever you want, and then you can schedule them and set a time of when you want them to be sent, and that solves that problem for you. So they can be off your mind because you've scheduled them to go out the next day or something like that. So that will be fine. Sometimes you don't get responses straight away. Wait for 7 days. You can resend the same email without any changes to it if you don't know the person. If you feel a bit awkward about that, you could make up a white lie and say, hi, insert the name, or dear, insert the name of the person you're writing to, and just say you're resending this because your outgoing mail had some issues the previous week. From then on, when you receive a response from them, you really have to follow their lead. And so you want to address them with the name that they have signed with. Say you're emailing someone who's called David and they sign their email with Dave, you then are fine to use Dave as the name that you're addressing people with that you're addressing them with in the email. If you started your email with dear and they reply with hi, you are now also okay to use hi. Make sure that you thank them for their response. And for taking the time to get back to you, because they didn't have to do that. Right. You, in your response, want to make sure that you specifically address what they have said, and that you then finish off with a thank you or best wishes. So if they've told you in their email that they're busy with something, then sign off by wishing them all the best with that. So you might say, thanks again for your email and good luck with all your efforts towards whatever the thing was that they were busy doing. I'll be in touch. And so the same goes again, you're following their lead. If they've signed off with thanks or kind regards, you use that. If they signed off with cheers, that's fine for you to then also use that. So here's our example. We're saying, hi Shannon, thank you very much for getting back to me. I completely understand that this week won't be possible for you. The book launch sounds like a fantastic event. From the dates that you've given me, I can come in on Saturday the 12th of March to discuss possible work opportunities. Please let me know what suits you best. Thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do for Unity Books. Kind regards, Fred. And so that's really polite. You're directly addressing what they have said was the issue, that you couldn't come in any earlier, or they didn't have time for you any earlier, and you've been really specific and clear about when you will be available to come in and see them. Now, here's one last one that is useful bit of advice. So try and avoid apologies and thank them instead. So if it has taken you a few days to respond to someone and you think that really was a bit too long, instead of apologizing for it, thank them for their patience. So thank you for your patience in waiting for my response. It means that you focus the attention on them, and it's a positive thing about them. So they have been patient rather than you have been late. It's really important because it highlights a positive feature of their personality rather than drawing attention to something that they could see as negative about you, whether that's justified or not. So you always try to use language and phrases that make the recipient of your email feel good about themselves. So make sure you thank them. That's really all. All right, so this should have given you a really good idea of what to do and what to think about when you're sending an email. And so hopefully going forward, you will have a really good idea of how to do that. As always, get in touch if you've got any more questions, or ask your Aqua teachers. They are more than willing to help. Take care and goodbye.